again, everyone. So I'm going to do a little demo today that is unlike things I have done before on the channel. I'm going to be carving this little scrap piece of Speedball Easy Carve linoleum. It's just a scrap, so I drew a little image on it, and now I'm going to carve it and make it into a stamp. And then at the end, I will show you, assuming I have my stamp pad. Yes, I do. Do I have paper though? That's the question. I have a variety of scrap papers, so I'll probably just do it on scrap paper. I think this little piece of scrap paper will be, yeah, that'll be the right size. So I will print this once I have carved it, but I have found this to be such a relaxing and actually focusing project. Sometimes if I'm working from home and I have a work training or something that I need to pay really close attention to, I actually find that I pay really close attention if I'm sort of mindlessly carving at the same time. It's probably not for everyone, but I really like it, and you really don't need a lot. All of these things are from Speedball, but that's just who happens to make like the cheaper stuff. But this is, do I have the label? No, I don't. Okay. Oops. Okay. But it comes in a variety of sizes of sheets, and this is, here, I'll zoom out a little bit. This is a really large one. So I've just cut out different pieces of it to create different stamps, and then I had a bunch of little scrap pieces because I don't want to waste anything. And here's another one that I have here where I've drawn a little leaf on there, and I just drew with pencil on here, but you can also draw on a piece of paper and then transfer it onto it if you use pencil. I will refine this image because it's not perfect as I'm carving. But it's super easy, and I'm going to show you. I chose an image that would be fairly quick to carve. So you really need to make sure you figure out what you want to be, what you want to print on the paper and what you want to be left white. So I want this flower shape to be black or whatever color you print with. So that's what I'm going to carve out. And or I'm going to carve around that, because anything you don't carve out is going to be your stamp essentially. So I use this Speedball little carving set, and I got mine on Amazon. I think I'll put a link down below to both the Easy Carve and this. And the two of these together, that sheet of linoleum Easy Carve will last quite a while. And depending on the size of the stamps, or you can kind of make full-size prints or printing blocks out of them too. It sort of depends on what you want to call it. All right, so here it comes with all these little tools here for carving. This one is for actually cutting your Easy Carve up into pieces, although I used scissors in my case, but you can also use this one, which is like a little X-Acto blade, but although it's not as sharp, but it's still pretty sharp, and will cut your linoleum. And I'm just going to use two of these today. So I'm going to use the smallest one to do the initial details. And if the spaces are too small to get in with a larger carving implement, I will go back in with that. And then I'm going to use this one, which is sort of a rounded shape. There's two other in here that are sort of a V shape, but I haven't really used them all that much. I think I used them once or twice, but actually this one's more of a narrow U, and this one's a V shape. So you could get really deep carving with the V shape, and probably with this U shape as well. And this might be sort of an intermediate size in between these two, but these are the ones that I'm going to use. All right, so those are stored in the back of this, which is really quite nice. And then, all right, I'm back. I got interrupted there. Okay, so so the little tools live in the back here, and then in order to put the blades in, you just simply unscrew this and then put in blade and then tighten it. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna carve away from me so that I don't cut myself. You can cut yourself. I am not responsible for you cutting yourself. Please be careful. All right, so I'm gonna go in with this really fine carving tool. And I might not end up following exactly what I drew, but I'll try. And I do want the stem to have a little bit of weight to it, so I'm going to make that a little bit bigger than just the pencil line. And then I turn the actual linoleum. You can do that, or you can just take each one really slowly. Let me zoom in so you can see that. There you go. Okay. So, so I'm carving around all of these dark areas that I drew because that's what I want to be the stamp. And I also try to carve away from lines that I could cut in half with this thing because once you cut it, that's it. And I have made a few mistakes like that and just had to correct them. And you don't need to put a lot of pressure on. Actually, not much at all. Okay. And so you could also, like I went all the way up to that line, but you could go the other direction once you got close to that so that you didn't cut it off. Okay, so now I'm gonna go around these little petals. And the more complex the shape, kind of the harder, oh, sorry. It's a great tutorial, eh? All right. So there's not really much to this once you get started. It's really just carving around. And there's a lot of great tutorials out in the world for this if you want a little bit more info. And, you know, it takes a little while for you to get comfortable with curves and that sort of thing, but once you get the hang of it, it definitely doesn't require a lot of strength. And I tend to have some wrist issues, and this doesn't bother my wrist at all. Okay, so I want to make sure that that comes to a point there. And I might refine that with the bigger one. Okay, and then I'm going to go around this shape. And I'm probably going deeper than I need to go here, but and because this is sort of an abstract flower, it doesn't need to match exactly to the shape that I've drawn. Okay, there we go. And now for this centerpiece, and actually I'm going to put a little line here just to differentiate between the leaves there. Let me see if I need to do that anywhere else. No, I don't think so. So I'm just going to make, I'm going to go around this circle here. And circles can be a little hard. So, you know, just turn your material here. And then there you go. So that's the beginning of a cute little stamp. So now I'm going to move on to the other bigger tool. And like I said, this one is quite a bit bigger, so if you did want to use that sort of in-between U shape, you could use that too. And I might need to go into some of these smaller spaces again with the small one, so we'll do that at the end. So basically, I'm just getting rid of the big stuff with this, going up to the line that I've carved before. And, you know, one slip and you don't have a flower anymore. But, but you know, since this is a scrap, it's not really, it's not high pressure. Okay. And just carving around that. And I think I'll probably snip off some of these little ends here with scissors. And okay, I'm still trying to make sure I'm keeping that line there. And if you have extra on the sides, it will print, so you have to be careful. Sorry, this new table setup, I have to reach up higher to be where the camera is, so it's a little bit awkward. Okay, so I think we use this here for that. And okay, I do want to get as much off with this bigger one as I can so that I don't need to go and do a bunch of tiny little carves. But I think that, well, I probably can do this bit. Okay, I think I'm gonna push it and go with this bit in here as well. But you can always move down to a smaller shape. So now I just have some little bits here that I need to go back in and carve with the smaller one. So let's just replace that one. Okay, so there's some little bitty pieces here in this little in-between spot. Sometimes little pieces of rubber will get stuck in there, but that's okay. They'll come out if you keep carving. Okay, and I think I already, yeah, I have a little bit there. Get in there. And as long as the bits around your image are low enough, they're not going to show up when you print. But that's kind of why you do a test print to see. Test stamp. Okay. I'm just going to clean that out a little bit because I see some little pieces. Cut that out at the end. Okay, and I've got some in here. It's kind of tiny. Okay, let's see. And then there's a little bit between these petals. Okay, I think that's probably enough there. And then there's another space. Oop, and I went a little too deep. So that's what'll happen if you just kind of gouge in here. You don't need to put a lot of pressure. If you kind of gouge at it, it'll go too deep and it might end up messing up your block there. So just trying to do a little bit of cleanup there. And looks like I have one piece left between these petals here. And then once I do that, I'm going to cut off the excess with some scissors, and then I should be able to try printing to see whether I need to do any more carving. And with those really tight areas, if I'm going towards the image, I try to stop short of the lines, obviously. Okay, let's see if I can get in here. with this process, sometimes you can go a little too far and mess it up, but that's okay. Okay, I don't think I did that. That looks a little raised here. So you can just kind of take a look and see if there's any parts that are too raised. I think this is pretty good. Okay, so now I'm going to come in with some scissors. Cut that little bit off at the end. Cut that off. Anything that doesn't have a piece of your image in it, you can cut off. And probably pretty easy to cut with scissors. I didn't want to get too close, but I think I'm good there. Okay, so let's try printing this. And those little bits will all go in the trash. I'm going to keep my blades out just in case I need to do an additional fix there. Okay, so there's the paper. And I'm going to use this Ranger Archival ink in black. And you can either tap it on top like that, or you can do it the other way around with the stamp. So it actually, things look so much cooler when they're in black, I think. And then I had a drawing on the other side. I was trying to figure out how to use this scrap. Okay, so that's pretty good. All right, I do see some edges that are gonna need to go. So what's kind of nice about this is that anywhere you see black on your carving pink stuff, you'll carve away, and you can also see it on the print. Or you could leave those. Sometimes you could just leave them and it will look, you know, stylized or interesting. Let me take my glasses off so I can get in here. Okay, so I'm just gonna cut off the little bits where you can still see the black on the stamp itself. And then I can also reference this to see what needs to be cut. It's really not much. I think we did pretty good the first time. Okay, and there's a little bit of black here. And a little bit here. And my camera is probably not good enough for you to get enough detail here in what you're seeing, but this should give you the general idea. Okay. Ooh, it's a dangerous one because I don't want to cut off the thing. Okay, I think I got all the little pieces here. So let's try one more time. I think I can, let's just turn it around and I'll print there up in the corner. Move that. So I'm just gonna tap onto the stamp. Okay, and then close up my ink. And this ink doesn't dry super fast, so you could, I mean, you don't have to rush to get it, right? And you don't want to wiggle it because it can affect the image. All right, I think we're good to go with that. So there you go. Let me zoom out. Oops, sorry about that. And then bring this closer to the camera here. And there you go. You could continue to refine if you wanted, but I'm pretty happy with how that turned out, so I'm just going to leave it as is. But there you go. I hope you enjoyed. Feel free to ask me any questions, because I didn't do as thorough of a demo as I could have done. But you know, a lot of art teachers teach this, and you know, it's sort of a well-known method. So if you want to find out more, I'm sure you could Google and find some other videos on YouTube. Okay, so I should have taken this one out So I'll just take these out. Oops. You have to make sure you, oops, and this part can come off. There you go. You're seeing all the pitfalls here. There we go. And then I will just tighten that so it doesn't come off. And then put this little guy in the back. And you can use any kind of ink. It doesn't have to be archival or permanent, but if you did want to, you know, make a stamp and then paint with watercolor over it, you know, you could clear out all the little petal shapes in the middle and just have a black outline of all the little petals, and then you could color them in with watercolor if you use archival ink. So all right, well, that's all I had for you today. Feel free to subscribe to keep track of future videos on my channel. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. I hope to see you next time, but in the meantime, have a great day. Thanks so much. Bye.